but I won't be able to get it today. Stretch. Can you get them all? I think the main camera is Korean. You guys are actually professionals.
Wait 1 second.
There we go.
So you are one of the panelists today.
I am, yes, I was.
Oh, okay. So what is your name? Can you introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, sure. My name is Nadia Theodore, and I'm the Consul General for Canada to the Southeast USA. So I represent Canada across 6 states in the Southeast.
Are you the first black woman to ever occupy that position?
No, I'm not. I'm actually the
No, I mean in Canada. I'm talking about Canada.
Yes, so I'm the second black woman to head a mission abroad. We had a black woman ambassador about 7 years ago before me. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was so inspired by your story. So what is the purpose of today's event?
Oh, I think the purpose was really to reach out to the community to talk a little bit about sustainable development, but sustainable development in the broader sense. So really to talk about the skills, the tools that young black youth can really have in their toolbox as they move forward towards thinking about their career, thinking about how they are going to build jobs for themselves, build a life for themselves, and really be economically sustainable in the future. I was born and raised in Ottawa, and we are so lucky here in Canada to live in a very open society. And so I really try and use the experiences that I have had as somebody who's Canadian, who's always had a global outlook, whose parents immigrated here as teenagers, to tell youth especially, for whom I have a passion for, that you can be anything that you want to be. That with hard work, with perseverance, with going back to the basics that your mom and your dad and your grandmother and your grandfather taught you, work hard, show up on time, be polite,
For sure.
right? You can really achieve whatever it is that you have in your mind's eye to achieve.
The sky is your limit when you work hard.
Absolutely, the sky is your limit. When you work hard and when you reach out to learn from others. Humility.
Thank you so much. Continue to inspire women all over, not just women, continue to inspire black population in Canada. We are so impressed with your story. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm taking pictures because you are one of the panelists today, right?
Yes. Hi, I'm Camille Dundas. So I'm a solutions consultant at Hootsuite. That's a Canadian software company. But before that, I spent 10 years working in mainstream media. So I was a news producer for CTV, CBC, etc. I also have my own online magazine. It's called buyblacks.com. It's now Canada's #1 black online magazine.
Okay, so what is the purpose of today's event?
Well, I think today we were just here to talk to black youth in the community, to inspire them, to let them know about the different skills that they need to have in order to be successful in any industry, not just technology, but anything that they put their minds to.
Thank you so much for what you are doing. So are you a motivational speaker?
I do a lot of public speaking because I really think it's so important to give back and to let people hear your voice, your story, right?
Empowering people.
Yes, it's very important when somebody else sees me, what I've been through and what I've been able to accomplish, it might make them feel like it's just that much easier, it's that more within their grasp to get it as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm here with the organizer of today's event. Can you introduce yourself to us and the purpose of today's event?
Sure. So my name is Candice Kachapa, and I'm the founder of Developing Young Leaders of Tomorrow Today, short for DILOT. And today's event was really about bringing the experts in our black community together so that the community could have access to the expertise that exists, and just opening up the conversation about sustainable development and what does that mean within the black community, and moving forward, how do we make sure that it's not just a one-time thing, it's about building legacy within our community, and really putting the strength of our community on display through networking and through connecting with the people who really make changes from our community. It's really about making sure that we build those connections that will help us to be sustainable, will help us to have a lasting legacy, and moving forward, how do we continue to work together to make sure that our community is strong and we build on those things that already exist for the future.
How long have you been doing this?
So I started Dialot 3 years ago, and really it took off last year. Through, a lot of the panelists talked about the people who helped them get to where they are. I had a lot of help getting to where we are right now. We had great mentors. I had great mentors who connected me to the right people. And last year we got funded through Laidlaw to do this one-year project, and this one-year project turned into this. So this is, Congratulations for what you are doing. I was so impressed when I came here. I said, wow, that is what we are talking about. That is the purpose of our education and our community engagement. We have to use our personal experience to impact our communities, right? Absolutely. Thank you. I just want to, say that Dialot is we're continuously building, we're continuously developing, and we hope that people will buy into what we're selling, right? Will buy into the fact that we're invested in building up the Black community, and hopefully we'll continue to be connected, and other organizations can always reach out to us. We'll be in the recruitment process for the next cohort starting in July and into August. So just look out for us on Twitter and on LinkedIn, Dialot, and connect with us.
If you have any website, any of your maybe social media handle,
yeah. So for Twitter, it's at Dylott, DYLOTT _. For our website is www.dylott.com, www.dylott.com.
This space, and I learned it all by myself. I grabbed code, learned it all by myself, but I'm stuck. And I'm tired of asking for permission to go to the next level. I teach code at the JCA to the kids, but I need resources for me to develop a training plan for the kids, and then for me to learn more. And I think as a Black woman, being the first in my space, I feel like the door is shut, and I need an open space, and I don't know where to go. To learn more code, to learn to code. And I've learned to code, but I don't have projects to take it out. So I'm just wondering if I know I'm dealing with these two, if you could help us. The children, children at JCA are wonderful. They're learning to code. They've learned to code themselves. But I think we need to offer them more, and we're looking for training. How can you help us help them? And then you have what you need. Because we're out there, but we're just hidden.
Thank you. And now that everybody has answered, would you ever like to comment? May go ahead.
I think that's amazing. That's incredible. I would love to chat with you after the session about ways we can help, because I'm already thinking of ideas, especially for the kids. When it comes to being a Black woman in tech, oh my goodness, the adversity you face is sometimes it feels like insurmountable. You face not only racism, but sexism at the same time. I have found when trying to navigate that, to try and find, are there other women of color in your industry? Okay,
so I code for the government. I design interactive forms that use, so now your birth certificate's now interactive. Now a lot of things are more interactive, and that's what I code. But I only code little strips of Java.
Yeah. Okay, so I think first of all, we should definitely chat, because our mentors can participate in help in training those youth, and we have resources to make that happen. So I would be more than happy to connect you and make that happen. when it comes to the criticism in your workplace, do you have a I know, I said earlier, I'm rolling my eyes on the inside right now. Like, it's such bullshit, the amount of stuff. And it's interesting, when you see that type of feedback and criticism from people who are also people of color, and you're like, what the what's going on? You should understand how hard it is to be black and a woman. Don't be a poor person. Do you have I would say, like, have a portfolio so that when people come at you like that, like, I have a personal portfolio of every project I've ever coded, so people can go and see that, and I can be like, do you see all of this crap? Do you see all I'm doing? And keep up with everything. Like, so like every new thing, like, I just taught myself React just for the fun of it. So keep up with that, have a portfolio, make sure it's up to date, make sure it's on your business cards, have personal business cards as well as the government ones that you're provided, so when you're meeting people in different situations, you can give it to them and be like, cards that say developer, React, JavaScript, like UX, everything like that. Make sure that when your portfolio is linked to your professional portfolio, so on LinkedIn, have all of those things as well. Start taking meetings outside of the organization you're with. The federal government, I know, is really great for pensions and for benefits, but start taking those meetings outside of your department or outside of your company, and that will also put a little bit of a fire underneath the individuals within your department, because they'll see that you're needed, you're desired outside of where you are. And I find that sometimes in tech, people look at people who look like us as like, well, she's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. She's just going to stay where she is. She's lucky to be in this tech space. Nah, they're lucky to have you. Yeah. So start doing those meetings. Sorry, I got 1 minute. Time. Okay, let's talk afterwards.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, because I think this is transferable to any black woman in any industry. When you're being questioned by anyone, whether within our community or without, don't let your first reaction be anger.
Yes.
And it's okay to be angry. I'm not dissing you. I get angry all the time. But teach them. And the reason I say that is because if somebody is questioning where you are, it's because they have no reference point. So when you see someone questioning you, understand that they have never had an experience of seeing someone reach that point. So it's an opportunity for you to say to them, yeah, I am here. You want to know how? Let me tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you. You can be here too. Right? Instead of pushing them away, take them up, right? You know, I hear this phrase a lot, that you have to see it to achieve it. A lot of us say that, myself included, but recently I started to question that phrase. Because somebody has to be first. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we have to encourage each other to strive, right? And if you don't see something, then create it. Because that's what makes an innovator.
Michelle Obama, sorry. We should definitely talk about that. I was listening to Two Dope Queens, the podcast, and Michelle Obama was on it recently, and she was just saying that when she experiences anger, she immediately thinks about how she can use that to push and further herself and her community. So she says, don't deny your anger, because that'll bubble up eventually, but realize how you can use that anger to your benefit.
Okay, are there any other audience questions? All right, go ahead.
Hi there. Thank you very much for attending this morning, because you could have been anywhere and you chose to be here, first of all. I have 2 questions, please.
Okay, start with one.
So what are the key competencies, and if you can perhaps state 2, talk 2 key competencies, skills that as Black youth, and probably all of us in here, should have in our toolbox. And the other one, while you're thinking about that, is I think for all of you, you've been the only one, if you know what I mean, in your space, in your professional space. And I applaud you for that. So for those of us who are up and coming, and a little uncomfortable being the only one in your space, professional space, how do you prepare and arm yourselves so that you're not angry as the first emotion?
That's a good question.
Okay.
I like this
I know one too. Okay, good.
Can you ask the first one again?
Yes. So key competencies, top skills that you should have in your toolbox as youth.
Okay.
Right now, yes.
So we're like, I'm in the talent development space. So, you know, there's been extensive research about this, and I'll give a bit of caveat. So our economy is shifting, our world is shifting, you know, due to automation, globalization, disruptive technologies, all of those things are shifting the way we work and the way we play. So, you know, research has been clear that what are the key skills that you need are actually mindsets, right? There's a particular way that you need to shift how you think, right? And those are becoming skill sets, right? And companies are hiring more and more for those mindsets than they are hiring for the hard skills, right? Because our colleges, universities, our code schools are doing an amazing job of building hard skills, right? There's not a lot of people building those soft and mindsets. So what are I don't know if there's a top two, they're not ranked order, but I can list you some key ones that, you know, you probably can't learn in school, but it's gonna be important through work integrated learning, as our MPP spoke about. Number one is anti-fragility. I'll start, I say that again. Anti-fragility, anti-fragile. Why is that important? Disruption is real. You don't know what next month or next week or next year will look like. You need to be good at pivoting. You need to be good at ambiguity. You need to be good at being resourceful. You need to be good at just hustling.
Right.
You have to be anti-fragile. And I think it's even times 10 for the Black community. Because if you're fragile, when somebody says you don't know what you're doing, or you know you don't have a plan, they will crush you. And then on top of that, there's an industry or multiple industries that if you go to, you know, prop tech, or you go to clean tech, or you go to health tech, you go to all of those sort of tech-enabled new industries that are propping up, there is no roadmap. There's no way, there's no direction. I work with the Ontario Digital Service. They don't know. Right? I work very closely with Hillary, with all, they don't know. Right? So sis, it's just, you just have to be anti-fragile. And that happens through you actually building projects and learning that resilience. Learning how to sort of just be resilient. The next one I'll say is fail fast and fail forward. Right? That is meaning that if you're scared to put your project out and be crushed, that you're actually just not gonna make it. Not, at least not in this new economy, not in this new reality, right? You have to learn how to like, in sort of agile methodology, there's this thing that says there's no such thing as a draft, right? And I think in this new economy, like we just have to get good at knowing that there's no such thing as a draft. You put your first foot forward, right? You learn how to fail fast and lean into the failure and go to the next step and learn quickly and lean into that failure, and you'll realize that a year later, you are much better than anyone thought you could be. So those two things, anti-fragility, failing fast, failing forward, right, are two really, really key skills. I'll leave it there because I can't remember your second question.
Okay, thank you. Naya. So I really like that. This is one of my favorite questions that I get asked quite often about, you know, what are the skills, what are the top 3, top 5 skills? And I like the question, especially when I'm speaking to those in any Black community, because we're not a monolith. And I like it especially when I'm talking with people who might come from West Indian backgrounds, because that's what I know. Both of my parents are from the Caribbean. Because I do feel that, you know, there are a lot of buzzwords these days, especially for those in the tech space. You know, a lot of buzzwords, you know, fail fast, fail, you know, love failure, anti-fragility, and that's great because it helps you to remember it easily. But what I tell people, especially people from West Indian backgrounds or people in Black communities, is it's actually what your parents and your grandparents taught you when you were very small. So all of these buzzwords that we use now, you can ask your grandma, you can ask your mom, right? Because when they would say, you know, we're going to Auntie so-and-so's, bring your pajamas, no, I don't know what time we're coming home, bring your pajamas, bring your book, you know, we'll come home whenever we're coming home and you're coming with me, right? Follow along, Nadia, my mom used to always say, follow along, right? Or when I would come home and say, you know, somebody in the schoolyard called me a bad name, or I wrote an essay on what my favorite fruit is and I picked ackee fruit and I got an F because, you know, the note said ackee fruit is not found in the dictionary, right? And my mom would say, well, suck it up, you know, go talk to the teacher and tell her what ackee fruit is, right? Anti-fragility, right? So I say that because I do find that sometimes, especially for Black youth, they can get overwhelmed with all of the buzzwords and all of the big people telling them fancy words and things that they need to have that seem like it's hard to that seem like it's hard to attain. But actually, it's those very basic things that you learn, that many of us learn, not all of us, but many of us learn from our parents, or from a neighbor, or from, you know, a basketball coach or a soccer coach, or to me, for youth in general, being able to listen to those people that are in your community when they tell you, make sure you're on time. When they tell you, you know, hold your head up and look somebody in the eye when you say hello. Make sure you say please and thank you. Make sure when you're going somewhere, you show up, and you show up strong. And so I think that those, frankly, as you get older, all translate into fancy words like anti-fragility and failing fast, etc. And then I would also say, and this might be maybe a little bit controversial, but I would also say to people not to forget that as we big ourselves up, and we absolutely should, and as we move through the world knowing that we're fabulous, right, and living our best lives and all the other hook phrases, don't forget to have a little bit of humility. Don't forget that when you show up somewhere as you're hustling, and having lived in the United States now for 2 years representing Canada, I've gotten very comfortable with the word hustle, they use it a lot. That, you know, hustling is fantastic, but you do have to show up with a little bit of humility. You do have to recognize that nobody gets anywhere by themselves, that you don't know anything, even when you're the boss. Even when you're the CEO, even when you're the owner, even when you're the, you know, whatever leader it is, you can always learn more. And the hustle doesn't mean that you move through the world without understanding that you do need to develop your craft. And in developing whatever craft it is that you have decided that you are going to master, and make your life out of, in developing that craft, you need to reach out to people, and you need to learn from people, and you need to actually do the work to master your craft. So I would definitely say that humility is a skill that I have come to appreciate very, very much over the past several years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wanted to answer this specific question? I hope we continue that part of the conversation, but there's another question from the audience, and I know that you have been seeing food coming in and out and are as hungry as the rest of us here. So go ahead with your question, and that will be...
So thank you very much for your comments. Okay. So I do note your phrasing in terms of talking about anti-fragility, and then you made a response to it. I wanted to find out, does this anti-fragility or adopting your grandmother principle, does it change when you're working in white spaces? Because I feel I've worked in a predominantly Black environment with, well, predominantly Black leaders, and now I'm working in a white space, and I do find that the coping mechanisms are different. I see the need for more humility, when working with white people than I do with black. So how does that respond, and how do these characteristics change when you're working with whites per se than the two?
Well, you know, listen, so I'm only the second black woman to ever, Canadian black woman to ever head up a mission abroad. So I have not predominantly worked in black spaces, I suppose, if that's how we're phrasing it. If absolutely how you show up is different, regardless of whether you're working with white people, or whether you're working with all women, or all men, or whether you're working with youth, or older people. I mean, no matter what space you're in, depending on what space you're in, how you show up will be different, absolutely. And your coping mechanisms, depending on who you are as a person and what your comfort level, absolutely will change depending on the spaces that you're in. But, you know, I would say to you, and this also might be very controversial, but I would say to you to really, in my opinion, to really focus on your craft, to really focus on the job that you have been hired to do, the job that you are there to do. I say to people who ask me the question about how I got where I was, and you know, how is it being a black woman, one of the only black women representing Canada abroad as a diplomat. And I say to them, you know, the best comeback to somebody who doesn't think that you can do it, or who is questioning you, or who might think that you got there for something other than your skill and talent, is success, right? Is to do your job well. And not to focus too much on the other stuff, on the other noise. Because as Takara said, frankly, the noise, well, and as the woman in the back said as well, who asked the first question, the noise could come from your own community, right? The doubt could come from your own community. And so if you focus on what the job is that you were called to do, and what you want to do with that job, what you want to do with the opportunity, right? And what impact that you want to make, and focus on that. To me, that is, that will get you farther than worrying about the noise around you and those people that might be doubting you.
Half of black women lose a lot of time because of the time we spend worrying what other people think about us. And so the moment that I dropped thinking about what this white man across the table thinks about me, the more time I had to focus on my craft, okay? So I show up no differently in any space that I'm in. And I bring my full self to every conversation. The only thing that will change is if I'm around black people, I might use more slang. I might use, you know, more Caribbean, you know, words or whatever. But I am the same in all spaces because I just completely dropped thinking about what they're thinking about. Because imagine how much time, how much mind space that takes up. This lovely lady here put my name forward for a board position with the Canadian government, right? And so I went to that meeting, and it's a meeting in Ottawa with a bunch of other former ambassadors, mostly white males. There was a couple other women there, one other black woman. And this was the first time in a long time that I did start thinking about what other people were thinking about me, and I had to actively push that voice back. There was times when I would be in the meeting, and they were talking, and then my mind would wander, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, how did you get here? Are you really here? Like, what is happening right now? What is going on? You're just a girl that grew up on Danforth above a Chinese takeout restaurant with your family on welfare. Like, I was like telling my whole life story in my head while trying to show up at this meeting. And it was an 8-hour meeting, so I had a lot of time to think. But before we got to the 8th hour, I dropped it all. I went through my whole process, I put it in my pocket, and I said, okay, I'm gonna speak only when I have something important to say, when I have something valuable to say. I'm here for a reason, and I'm an expert, just as they are an expert in what they know, I'm an expert in what I know. And so I'm going to give value when I have something important to say. So know when to shut up and when to show up.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, you got a question? Oh, we have way more questions. How hungry is this room? Because 5 hands just went up. But we're also all going to be in an interactive space so we can continue the conversation that way if you're okay with it. Okay. I did want to do one rapid fire because I don't like leaving these spaces without having an action item for everybody in the room to think about what they can do next and how they can continue this. And so I'll ask, it's a 2-piece, you can choose which one. A first step that folks could take if your industry is something that they're thinking about entering and could get involved in, or a first step that anybody in this space could take to be involved in something or a project that you're specifically working on that is moving sustainable development for our community. So a project or a first step for their own career they could take.
I have one. So I guess like the first step I would suggest is, and it goes back to humility, it's just recognizing that you don't know everything and constantly updating your skills. Being able to pivot in this industry is so critical. So I would say, you know, if you're going home after today and you're thinking, what should I do? Look at whatever industry you're in, look at the job applications and what people or companies are hiring for, and then start working on those skills so that when you do get to a point where you're interviewed or you're going in for a job, you already have all of that. So that would be the
Thank you.
Black professionals in technology. You should check that out, bptn.ca. We are having a summit October 25th, downtown Toronto. It will be the largest of its kind ever, over 1,000 Black professionals in technology. So, you know, we want to make sure that we are engaged there. There's going to be people from around the country. So I'd say, you know, get engaged there, right? And then that connects with my second. What you want to do is micro-skilling and reskilling, right? It goes to humility. It goes to another skill is lifelong learning, right? Especially in the new economy, you should always be relearning and retooling, right? So the 25th of October will allow and enable our community to do that.
Could you repeat the site again, please?
bptn.ca.
Is your technology conference
Yeah,
open to young people? To youth?
Yes, so what we're trying to do right now, so it's open to we sort of students, right? Is sort of how we've done it, so no one 18 or under from an insurance perspective. So 18 and over, we do have, it is a paid event, but the youth ticket, we're working with 1 or 2, potentially 3 different companies right now to actually sponsor all of those. So we have 100 tickets available for students, and we're trying to get them sponsored by 1, 2, maybe 3 companies. So, but all the information is online. And if you work in digital service, you should be there because your boss will be there too. It's a nice way to connect and engage, right? And there's maybe 3 or 4 people within, like Black professionals, right? Solid people that probably work across the desk from you that within our network you can actually connect with, right? What I've found is we did an event in March for International Women's Day, right? For Black women in tech, we call it Black Women Magic. There was over 350 Black women in technology. It was the most incredible event I've ever been a part of, right? So, you know, like I find, at least in the tech space, when Black women come together, like I see something magical that happens. Like there's a network that Takara's part of, like Chioma, like there's something happening in that space. So like plug into it would be. So I wanted to make sure I also spoke to you about that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll use this as a shameless plug for buyblacks.com. Please follow us everywhere. But apart from wanting to plug my company, it's an important place where you can feel reflected. So we do a lot of profiles on people like this guy right here, people like this lady right here, and we'll be doing profiles on y'all too. It's a great place to find inspiration. So if you want to read stories about Black people doing awesome things, go there and read those stories. The one piece of advice I'd give for going, like transitioning, is that was the question, I think?
Entering your space that you...
Right, yes, entering professional space is to know what you want for your life and build around that. So do not like chase a career or like, you know, just sit down and be like, okay, like what am I gonna pick? Let it pick you, in the sense that figure out like 3 things you want for your life. So you want a life that allows you to travel, or do you want a life that allows you to work from home? Do you want a life that that pays you a 6-figure salary, or would you rather have a lower salary and be able to work from home? Make decisions about what you want your life to look like, and then go after a career that fits into that life.
Thank you.
In regards to what our company has been doing now, we've been focusing on how we could create more employers within our community. So our foundation's goal is really to create more employers within the construction industry, employers within the tech industry, so that as organizations around me create more employees within those spaces, we're not just begging and asking for a job with employers that we can relate with, but we're collaborating, working with employers that are from our community, understand our culture, and thinking twice about employing us in the 2 top industries that are changing the Canadian economy, which is construction and technology and innovation. So for the advice we always give individuals in the community is just be an expert in whatever industry that you want to be in, and don't complain, and just continue to work hard, and you'll see yourself through.
Thank you. So I would say to everybody to follow all of these people that are up here on the panel. Because I find that, especially with youth, you're looking to see people like yourselves doing big things, doing things that you would like to do in the future. And now, because of the internet, because it's 2019, you don't necessarily have to sit down and have an hour conversation with that person, right? You can actually follow them online. You can read by Blacks. You can look at everything that Isaac is doing online and his company is doing, and learn from that. Learn from seeing those people in action, right? Seeing those people in their daily work, and how they move through their daily work and move through their jobs and move through their careers towards success. Because by seeing those people like these amazing people on the panel, and how they actually, on a day-to-day, move through their job, their work, their career, you can learn a lot more, frankly, than just by sitting down with them for a coffee for 15, 20, 30 minutes. So that's a piece of advice that I would give people, and I really have to echo what Isaac said about knowing your craft and being excellent in what you do, and really trying to complain less. I think that as people, generally, we like to complain, and I really think that, like Isaac said, hard work doesn't always get you everywhere. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But you have more of a chance of getting somewhere if you put your head down and work hard, and then pop your head up when the opportunity presents itself. Actually, Camille, that was something that you said to me in our interview, right? Because for years, working in the federal public service, I was very much a keep your head down kind of girl, which is why when I got appointed, people were like, well, where did you come from? Everybody said, and I'm from Ottawa, I'm not from Toronto. So I was born and raised in Ottawa, and people were kind of like, well, where did you come from? I've never seen you before. Because I kept my head down, worked hard, mastered my craft, was excellent in trade policy, what I was hired to do. And then when the opportunity presented itself, I popped my head up, and here I am. So that would be great. Okay.